Good morning, everyone. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. That is what I'm talking about this morning. Do you know, boundaries are something that keep coming up, whether I'm doing my Surrender Series course or one-to-one sessions or in my own life. Boundaries are something that we are constantly navigating. And they're a really important part of life, and they're a really challenging part of life. Boundaries are not easy to set, particularly depending on the culture you're from, the country you live in, your own kind of, life history, story, values, beliefs, all of that. It all influences how we're able to set boundaries and how we feel about boundaries. So I thought I would just come on and do a little share. So this topic of boundaries has been coming up so much for so many people that I work with and myself. And I guess I just wanted to come on to chat a little bit about it. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are a very active decision to consider what is it I need and then take action to put that in place. That's my own words and kind of in very simple terms. So when we think about boundaries, it's about taking a moment to consider what is it I need in this moment? Is there something that I can do about this? And what can I do about this? So boundaries can be linked to the workplace and your role. It can be linked to intimate relationships, so with your partner. It can be linked with relationships in your family. And it can be about yourself as well and setting your own boundaries. Now, why is it important to set boundaries? It's important to set boundaries because, one, you're educating others how to treat you, what you're willing to tolerate or not. You're also practicing self-compassion by setting clear boundaries and saying, this is what I'm worth. This is what I want to be seen as, valued as. So an example of a boundary, for example, would be someone asking us to do something that we're really uncomfortable with and we don't want to do. Let's just take a workplace situation to make it quite neutral. Let's say your manager comes and says, I expect you to work an extra 3 hours to meet this deadline. And it's not within your remit, it's something that you shouldn't be doing, it's something that you're not comfortable with. Now, you have two options. You can either just say nothing, do it, internalize that feeling of not being heard, feeling frustrated. Your nervous system is likely to be activated, so you might even feel it in your body. You might feel, I'm thinking of myself here, tight chest, tension in the throat area because we're not being heard, we're not able to voice our needs, maybe tension in the neck and shoulders. You may even struggle to sleep. You may feel angry. You may feel like you're not being appreciated, you're not being seen, you're not being heard, and not being valued as an employee. These are not helpful sensations, emotions, thoughts, or feelings, right? So the other option is to take a moment to step back, and this is really important. We often are just very reactive when we set boundaries, and that can come from a place of anger, frustration, can be harmful and often isn't helpful. Yes, you can take a moment, step back, whatever that looks like for you. It may be journaling, it may be doing a somatic check-in, it may be checking with your window of tolerance, it may be going for a walk, it may be talking to a friend, but take a moment, step back if you can, and think about, what boundary do I want to set? What is the intention behind that boundary? What can I do so that I feel as regulated as I can be in my nervous system so I can set that boundary assertively, clearly, and from a place of no harm? That is really important. Now, it's not easy to do this. Sometimes we have to just make a decision in the moment and set a boundary, and that can be incredibly challenging. And then it's a case of afterwards kind of taking some time to reflect on that, trying not to embody kind of the mistake that we've made, or shame or anger or anything that goes with that, and acknowledging those feelings. But that's a discussion for another session. Right now we're looking at two options. One is just being kind of reactive, not helpful. And then the helpful side of things is to take a moment, step back, reflect, what is it I need? What is my intention? What do I want to communicate assertively and from a place of no harm? These are the key words, assertively and from a place of no harm. So when I'm talking about no harm, it's thinking about not only no harm to the person that you're setting your boundary with, although they are responsible for themselves. Let me be clear here. We are not responsible for other people. This is also really important. So it's very loud. I'm in the middle of Edinburgh. but also about no harm to yourself. So I don't know about you, but when I have set boundaries where I have taken the time to really think about what is it I want to say, what's my intention, doing it from a place of no harm, not reactive and assertive, I very much feel it in my body. There's a sense of feeling empowered and strong and calm, and not being overwhelmed if the person maybe doesn't react in a way that I would like, or they don't respond in a way that I feel comfortable with, or they struggle with my response. But in my body feeling like, no, I have said what I need to say, I didn't cause any harm, I was clear, I was assertive, and that is that. And what that person does with that is their story, their journey, not mine. Whereas I've had moments where I've been reactive in my life. I'm a very fiery person, I'm completely human. And I've definitely afterwards thought, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. That was really hurtful. Actually, that didn't even communicate what I wanted to share. I didn't actually really think about my needs, or maybe they didn't even really understand what I wanted to say. My boundary wasn't actually set clearly. And that is not a healthy or helpful place to be. And I feel that definitely often in my chest, definitely in my throat area, and often in my belly as well, where I just know, oh, that put me in the threat part of my nervous system. That didn't feel right. So if you are working on setting boundaries, basically just think about, if there's a boundary you need to set, if you can, even if it just takes 5 minutes, take a step back. Think about, what is the intention of my boundary? What is it I need right now so that I can regulate myself, so that I feel grounded and as strong as I can be within myself and as safe as I can be within myself, so that I can vocalize and communicate my needs in a clear and assertive way. Also, how can I not have expectation of how that person's going to react, what they're going to think or feel, because we are not responsible for other people. But if we come from a place of no harm, if we're assertive and we're clear, and we use things like I statements, and we really just consider our needs and we vocalize them, that's the most important thing. And the more we do it, the wonderful thing is the more we set boundaries, the easier it gets, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So we have to keep doing it. And in that way, we are just teaching those people around us how we would like to be treated. Now, it can be challenging if people aren't used to you setting boundaries. I get that. But that doesn't mean that you can't make changes and rewrite your story and start setting boundaries. Empower yourself. Do that. Boundaries are so important so that we feel worthy, that we feel empowered, that we feel acknowledged and witnessed and heard, that we don't embody shame and anger and sadness and regret, but rather empowerment, love, a sense of intention, and recognition of our needs. So yes, that is my thought for the day. When it comes to boundaries, I could talk about this for hours. There's so much to share, and it's not as straightforward as just setting a boundary. If a lot of these terms, like the window of tolerance, somatic check-in, things like that, are new to you, you can go to my YouTube channel, and I have an example of a somatic check-in there. The idea is basically just to do a little body scan, ideally guided by someone, but a little body scan. Notice what's coming up for you in the body, and then taking a moment to really think about, what is it I need in this moment? Not in an hour, not in half an hour, not in 10 minutes, not tomorrow, right now. What is it I need, and what can I do to regulate my nervous system? And then acting on that so that you can regulate yourself, and then take action, maybe setting a boundary. What else did I talk about? Yeah, there's still lots of things. If you want to check out somatic practices, I've got lots of different somatic practices that I share here on my Instagram channel. There's stuff on my YouTube channel, there's stuff on my Facebook. Have a look there. Otherwise, get in touch with me. And as for the window of tolerance, you can go to my website. I've got lots and lots of information on there about window of tolerance, the nervous system, regulation. You can go on there. There's several links you can click on and find out more. So yeah, why not set a boundary today? Why not? And see how that feels. But remember, set an intention, be clear, communicate assertively, so that you can feel in your body that you had communicated your needs and set your boundary in a non-harmful, clear way. Have a beautiful morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. From me, Corey from COA, on a very dark day here in Edinburgh.